What's poppin', y'all? Taylor Swift decided to break some crazy records, so much so that the hate got unbearable for most people, and even Russ had to come out and comment on it, and he called out her haters. Now, me, I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I have not yet listened to this Taylor Swift album. I have not even listened to the last Taylor Swift album, but I have listened to the Taylor Swift album before that one. So the last Taylor Swift album that I listened to was titled, it wasn't The Tortured Poets. It was right before that. It might have been Folklore I think it was Folklore. After that, I didn't really check anything out. A lot of them are re-releases anyway, but The Tortured Poets is the last one, and I didn't check that one out either. But Taylor Swift, The Life of a Showgirl, the most recent album, and she did a rollout. I've never seen somebody who's such a demon with rollouts than Taylor Swift. She got engaged as a rollout. Now imagine what that conversation sounded like. Her talking to Travis Kelce like, yo, we know you just lost the Super Bowl, but we're going to need this engagement because my album's coming out soon, and you know I got to break records. And for somebody to break records in the modern age, you're going to need to sell physical copies. Adele was the one that held the first record for US sales. So Adele's 25 sold 3.4 million units. First week. You guys know every middle-aged mother was, not even middle-aged, every newfound mother, middle-aged mother, everybody was buying Adele's 25 album. And Adele's 25 album came out in 2015 before streaming really took a stronghold in the United States. Before that, I think Apple Music came out that summer too. So Apple Music and Spotify really hadn't matured to the point where people were going to listen to it like they are now. So people were buying a lot of this album, and this album had hits. We're not taking anything away from Adele, but we are going to give more credit to Taylor Swift. So initially, the projections were over 3 million first week, which was about 2.7 million copies pure sales, which is a pure sale is a CD, a vinyl, a cassette, something that is a physical copy or a digital copy. So somebody buys the album in its entirety. iTunes, for example, would count as a pure sale. The other side of sales is the streaming equivalent, which is however many streams it gets, 1,500 streams or whatever within the United States, that counts as one copy. So it's significantly harder to get a million first week. Damn, I would venture as far as to say as nearly impossible to get even a million first week with just streaming. You've got to be beyond viral. Every single person in the United States has to be streaming your stuff consistently. But we got a new update on Taylor Swift midweek, which is usually the sales aren't going much higher. Well, in this case, they are. So what happened midweek was that she was now projected to aim for a number one debut, which was going to happen anyway, to 4 million units first week. It went from 3 million to 4 million. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at Target the other day and I had to post it on my IG story. And I just said like, yo, the Swifties are slacking. There was a whole, not a booth, but you know, like that square place where it's in the middle of the aisle, like right before, you know how they have candy and all that right before you go into the self-checkout or checkout aisle. Right before self-checkout, they have a stand right there. That's what it's called. A stand with several different versions of the album in vinyl and CD that you could just buy. I'm like, damn, dog. And they got the stand design and everything. So she is about to break the record for that Adele had previously held. I love this because, frankly, do I like Taylor Swift more than Adele? I don't know if I can say that because Adele, I don't think she's ever even done features. No J. Cole. She did everything, no features. So we got to give respect to Adele. And she doesn't, I guess she's less controversial, although I don't know how controversial Taylor Swift is. She's had a couple of political takes that some people didn't like, but I'm lukewarm to that. I would say I've listened to Taylor Swift's music more than Adele. But Adele, I would say she's a little bit more potent. But Russ calls out the people that were hating on her. And he says, disclaimer, I haven't listened to a Taylor Swift song in like 10 years. Now, I've listened to at least 10 Taylor Swift songs this month. So while Russ might be saying like, yo, you know, I'm not too tapped into Taylor Swift, me on the other hand, I am. And he says, but I've just seen so many brain dead takes on this album's success that I gotta say something, LMAO. And this is an artist that sold many platinum records himself independently. Billboard only counts 4 physical sales per customer and 1 digital sale per week, FYI. And her building a fan base off of music dedicated enough to actually purchase her music should be nothing but admired. Y'all's favorite artists fake their streams and do not actually sell ish, LMAO, and yet she's being clowned for building a fan base so dedicated that they buy her music. Y'all are effing idiots and have the game backwards, laughing emoji. Facts, I co-sign that. We need a printer emoji. We need 100 emoji after that, because people are trying to clown Taylor Swift. And I'll show you guys a clip, or actually a funny meme from a page that was, there were haters involved in that page. And they put out this poster that said, "Oh, Taylor isn't greedy and she loves her fans, not their money." I don't understand where Taylor Swift ever put it out that she doesn't like money and she doesn't want to sell as many products or as many things that she can sell. We have to give her respect because she's actually made it mostly off of music. We don't see her doing a million other things. She writes music, which she writes herself. Mad respect to her for that. But it says it's only been 2 days since the album was released and we already have 28 variants. Now, these guys are exaggerating. There are significantly less variants, but you could see like, oh, there's a CD, there's different CDs, there's Target exclusives. Okay, so that's probably what I saw was the Target exclusives when I saw that at not the aisle, it was a stand. So you've got all of these different editions that people can buy. And if you're a die-hard fan of hers, you're probably going to buy as many as you can afford. You're like, yo, these are exclusive items. Taylor Swift has touched my heart. I'm so connected with her and I identify with her, etc. And this means she's got what? What do we call that? A strong fan base. And people are hating on her for that. What? And they're trying to dismiss her sales for that. And let's play by their rules. Let's play by y'all haters' rules, right? Okay, number one, we've got people like Young Thug who have admitted to botting streams, that we're saying that streams should matter because that's a more accurate form of consumption. Okay, let's go by that. And if we go by that rule, we can find that her song The Fate of Ophelia became the fastest song to reach 100 million streams in Spotify history. It did that in 5 days. So she broke the record of streams for a song. And it's going to be the first single to debut at number 1 on the Hot 100 without any pure sales. So it's going to go move 600,000 plus units, just that song alone, based off of streaming. Which means that she specifically restricted her sales to album only on iTunes. So her fans couldn't just go and buy the single. So she did it both ways. So she said, all right, she let her nuts hang. No 6ix9ine. How are you going to hate on that? Now are you going to say, nah, she's bought it? And this is where we get into my favorite part of the conversation. People want to dismiss Taylor Swift's accomplishment because they don't like her. That's all there is to it. Because if she sells all of those copies and then people are saying, well, even though a fan can only buy 4 copies, they can go to different stores and buy them up. Yeah, so she's got a really rabid fan base. Okay, but regardless, they'll say, oh, she's hacking the system, gaming the system because a bunch of people are buying copies of her album. It doesn't mean that people are actually listening to it. Okay, let's take that BS. Let's take it to heart and dismiss that completely. Now we get to the streams portion, and the hater says, well, even though she went number 1 and was the fastest song to ever reach number 1, and she didn't allow sales for that, pure sales for that, because she restricted that to just the album, well, she botted those streams. Okay, wow. Well, so first, the physical sales is cheating. Then they're going to accuse her of botting the streams. And then when you go and point out that she had one of the best-selling tours of all time, not one of, actually, let me reiterate that. The Eras Tour by Taylor Swift, where she did 149 shows with an average gross per show of $13.9 million, and the overall show, or overall tour, grossing $2 billion, she is number 1 in the highest grossing tour of all time. So she did that as well. So where does the hate going to come in now? Are you going to say like, nah, well, at that point, you just got to say, you know what? I'm a hater and F her accomplishments. That's it. I would respect that more because then we're not trying to rationalize the hate. The hate is emotional and you just got to tap in with that sometimes and just say, man, I don't mess with her. I don't care about any of her accomplishments and I'm going to down any single one of her accomplishments. That would be better. then I would respect that hating. Because then you're not trying to hide it in some sort of logic or reasoning like people are trying to do for Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift caught a W. She's number one in the game. And people were not using this excuse on The Weeknd when he sold like 500 something thousand first week. And then he plummeted after that. What was that? After Tomorrow, his last project that did that, because when he did the project Dawn FM, that didn't quote unquote sell too well in comparison to, because I think he got beat by Gunna, and Gunna had a crazy album with Push and P. He had a really crazy rollout for that too. And Young Thug was even on that jail call talking about Sal stood down so he could bot him a number one. So The Weeknd really should have gone number one there. But that next album, they made sure The Weeknd sold 500K plus. And all of us were not hating on The Weeknd because we all like The Weeknd. But some of y'all hate on Taylor Swift, so you want to dismiss this accomplishment. When Taylor Swift, you cannot dismiss the fan base that Taylor Swift has. That's it. It's impossible. She's selling physical copies. She's out streaming everybody. She's out selling everybody. And she's doing bigger tours than everybody. It is what it is. I've never seen tour tickets resell like Taylor Swift. Dog, I got a homie, his entire business was reselling Taylor Swift tickets. That was his business. And this guy was caked up. Pause. Not like that. We're talking metaphorically. This guy was swimming in bread. I was like, damn, there's people whose whole business is reselling. And you got to respect that. See, he's not even a Taylor Swift hater, honestly. He's indifferent. But if you're a hater of Taylor Swift, that's what you should be doing. Figure out how to make bread off of her fans. That's a next level of hate, but only elite haters can reach that status. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you just take it independently of Taylor Swift? If an artist is able to corral their fan base to buy multiple versions of a project, to outstream everyone else, and to make sure that they're doing stadium sold out shows consistently, are you not going to say that that artist has a crazy strong fan base? And then I don't want to hear a single person talk about like, oh, but her music sucks. Like, yo, get the hell out of here. When was that part of the conversation? You're probably not even the target audience anyway. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Shout out to Taylor Swift. I like to see records broken. I don't want to see a record sitting for 10 years. I don't care how it's broken. As long as it's fair and within the boundaries of the rules, which is what she did, it's a W. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.